Hey, I'm Decathlon Gamer. Welcome back to FM23 Newton Heath, episode 49, and we are at that part of the off season where we are getting our stature, where we stand next to every other team. And by late June, the transfer market is starting to take shape, but also I have a number of new staff members that we're going to be having in for the next year. So let's get caught up on some things, and then there is still plenty of off season yet to go. First one, looking back, even though our finances are fantastic, the sponsorship standings from League Two was not favorable for us. Southend, $3.5 million that they brought in sponsorship money a year ago. For us, by contrast, we were at or near the bottom of the standings with 110,000. I've added one new sponsorship for the coming year of 12K, but that's still peanuts compared to theoretically what everybody else is going to have, as the average league mark was $750,000. As always, we've taken a significant leap in terms of our reputation, but just how far is it? How does it compare to everybody else? I want to go in reverse this time, taking a look at Premier League at the top with the low man being Brighton, and then Nottingham Forest still up there. Nottingham Forest looks like their rep has dropped quite a bit, so I'm guessing that they and Brighton were the relegated sides this year, and I do believe that that was the case. A couple of championship sides on the lower end, Rotherham and Coventry, just outside of where everybody else is. You got Plymouth, Bristol City, Blackpool up above them. And that is our league now. I mean, we are in League One. So theoretically, we should be seeing our name pop up here. Maybe not above Wickham or anything, but it should be amongst the League One sides. But of course, we are just earning promotion to League One. So theoretically, we should be at the very, very, very tail end of that, which is Walsall. So if Walsall is the tail end of League One, then we should be popping up somewhere right around Northampton, top of League Two reputation. That's 2 stars going on 2.5 stars, and we are nowhere near a 2-star reputation. How much has it grown, though? Rochdale have a 2-star reputation as a National League. Bromley is the tail end of League Two, is the first 1.5-star team, and one of only 2, Harrogate Town and them, are the only 2 League Two sides that are still at 1.5 stars. That brings us into the National League, where we were 2 years ago. Dagenham and Redbridge, now in the National League South, are still up there. The regional cutoff on reputation is at the bottom end of the National League, with just a few teams falling into local and 1.5-star. Boston United, the lowest. And we still haven't seen ourselves pop up. Now, I know we are local. I know we are 1 star. We've got to be showing up soon. But realistically, there it is. There it is. Still, of course, labeled as League Two for the moment, but that will change in a few days' time. But Newton Heath, in and amongst the 6th-tier sides, finally, as we go to enter competition in the 3rd tier. It's come a long ways, and if we kind of center this one now, Hampton and Richmond, who aren't even in that 6th tier, who are 7th tier or below, are just underneath us. So we are finally above everyone outside of the pyramid within the game, the 7 levels of the game. But we are now just finding ourselves amongst those of the 7 levels. The lowest of the 7 levels realistically here, as we are not above anyone in the league we just left, and we're just catching up. But here's the big news. I mean, here's our scroll marker. We were all the way down here at the bottom, the lowest place at the start. We were literally the lowest rated team. We climbed up to about where was it? Like here after a year? Climbed up to about here after 2 years. We climbed up to here after 3. And now after 4 years, we are, right up towards the top. But from here, progress is very different. Everybody that we just passed was like half and 1-star reputations. We're about to hit 1.5 star. I mean, we're so close to hitting 1.5 star. We're so close to getting regional reputation. It's taken us 4 years to get 1 star and approach 1.5. You double 1 star and make it 2. We're barely moving up a handful of spots. There's 2 stars right there. You could see, well, you can't see, my face is in the way, but Dartford is 1 star. So 1.5 begins at Boston United and ends with Harrogate Town. It's a small list. It's a small group. Theoretically, we should progress more quickly, but at the same time, what's it going to take, right? How much more do we have to do just to get up to the League 2 sides and get up to 2 stars? That could be quite the process, quite a while to get there. But we're finally amongst our peers, sort of. We're amongst the peers that we started the game playing against. We're just not amongst the peers of our present time location. Just our first 3 years of play. Just not year 5. But we've made up a lot of ground. I still think we're in for a pretty poor reputation, and it's going to take a lot of catching up to do. With a low reputation, signing staff is hard. With a lot of finances, we have no problem paying or staffing a large group. But again, it's the cumulative effect of staff that has us really ranked above most of the other teams, and not the fact that we really have the best staff that you can get because of the reputation. We just don't have it. I have added a 3rd physio to our staff, so we now have a medical staff of 4, including 1 sports scientist, a head physio, and 2 physios. That's a really small staff. It's still a really small medical staff, but we are making some progress with that. And then our recruitment team, I have replaced a couple of our scouts. David Moss is an addition that we picked up. He's a 12, 17, 16. And then we've also added Dan Purdy, replacing the 2 weakest guys we had. 15s across the board for this one. The others, you could improve upon slightly, but it's not worth it for 1 to 2 points. I feel like you need to actually properly play leapfrog and not just be an inch ahead of the one you're replacing. So I don't necessarily replace my staff every first chance that I get. We do have a new general manager, though. The general manager that he is replacing was still on a non-contract free, as in our first year, amateur year. He's been in place the longest on this staff, and we've finally replaced him with a guy who is 13s across the board as GM. The one that he replaced was 9s and below. New head performance analyst with 12 plus in everything. The guy he replaced was 9s and 10s. Fitness staff, goalkeeping coaches are the same. For now, our head of youth development is the same, Aaron Creswell. We just brought him in last year, and I love this guy. He's a 16-13-13 who had just retired from West Ham. We've only had him for a year, but he's refusing to sign with us because of his ambition. He wants to go to a higher level. He's got a year of experience, and suddenly he's ready for the big time. I haven't lost hope that we'll be able to get him re-signed. I'm hoping that he stays on a month-to-month, and once we are firmly positioned in League One, maybe I can go back in and try to offer, and maybe this time around he'll be, oh, okay, well, you're matching my ambition because, you're in League One now, and I want to move up. So, oh, gosh, you've moved up. Shocking. We'll probably have to hire a new one. But for now, I'm definitely not in a hurry to replace him. We're hanging on to Matty Hughes another year. He's decent in his role as assistant coach. He's actually the weakest coach on the coaching staff now, besides myself. So the two guys in charge are the weakest coaches in terms of coaching individual players or individual tactical or technical priorities amongst the players. But I have replaced 3 of the 4 secondary coaches that we had. So I've made really significant upgrades. Robbie Fowler was the only newer one that I picked up last year to replace the by far weakest guy that we had. And you can see he's strong in attacking and decent as a coach. But the 3 new guys, Wade Elliott, 15 for the defending, which is his area of expertise. Wotan is a 18 defending and 12 tactical, so it's a mix there, about a 15 average, but he's our tactical defending coach. And then Michael Duff comes in as a 15 tactical and what is his area? Technical 14. I don't remember what exactly his combination, what his role was, but he comes in as a pretty strong coach with a 19 motivating. All 3 of those guys bring 4 stars to their department, which was an upgrade of either a half star or a full star on the 3 guys that they replaced. And with that, we are looking much better. Attacking technical still 3.5. Attacking tactical, that's Matty Hughes in charge, just 3 stars there, but we're looking at 4 stars, 4 stars, 4 stars, and 4 stars. And then on the goalkeeping side, 3 and 3.5. I'd love to find some better coaches there, but this is what we have for now without the reputation. On the fitness side, same thing. We're up to 3.5 in strength, but on the quickness side, we're still only 2.5, and that is technically our weakest coaching area now. So in the future, it's an upgraded fitness coach that we are very much going to be looking for. So far, I've made 2 moves for the offseason that have just gone through in the last couple of days. And the first of those is a loan move. We have him for the entire year. He is out of Celtic, and this is Joseph Bull. Joseph Bull is just 18, but he's got a high championship potential. He's already 3 stars, and we were short in attacking mid. Ollie Tanner is leaving the club. Shaq Ford is a mixed bag on how he performs there, and with the kind of potential this guy has, without any senior level competition, I'm hoping that he is going to blossom pretty quickly over the course of the season. He has plenty of flair, really good first touch, very good technique, good vision, good agility. I'm hoping that if he can throw in a few attribute points over the course of the season, he can be a pretty strong player in that attacking midfielder role for us, an advanced playmaker role. Last season, Abuehi was supposed to be the big signing. He cost us a ton of money, and he's leaving us after just 1 year. He's the blue in this web. You can see how well-rounded he is, and you can see how incredibly inferior he is to the club's new best player. 4 stars is where we now have him rated as, and everybody else is 3.5 or below, so no one comes in at 4 stars except for Perry Na. Is that Na? He is 30, so he won't be staying with us long term. It's a 1-year deal that we've signed with him for now. I am planning on playing him primarily as a right back, but he really could play anywhere across the back for us as he is a star player. I've got him signed on as an important player, even though he really wanted to be the star player. So getting that agreement helps. If he sits a little bit here and there, he's not going to be desperate regarding that move. But you can see just how much stronger he is. Very, very, very well-rounded. We are 12s almost across the board. 10 in attacking, 11 technical, 11 aerial, and 12 in every other area. Definitely the most well-rounded player we've seen. He certainly cost us a lot. Abuehi was the biggest contract we had at $357. This is $572, but we are heading into League One. It's inevitable that we're going to be paying more. We have a huge payroll available to us. We're nowhere near using it, so I don't mind spending some more to get some guys in. But I'm really excited by what he could do. Let's hope that he doesn't have the attitude that Abuehi had, who just didn't show up ever. Never really had a good game. He had 5 assists, but that's all he really managed to do. He was only a 6.88. Pike was better. Donasian was better. But Na is absolutely 100% an upgrade over Abuehi. But for now, that still leaves us with no defensive midfielder in the coming season. Collier, no interest, absolutely no interest in signing with us, and has just signed a deal to go to one of the championship sides. Ben Grist, Bull could play as a defensive mid, but he's just not built like one. Ben Grist was trying with him, was coming close. He wants to come in and be the star. He's not the star. He's not built like the star. He's not good enough to be the star. He honestly could and should only be playing as the third guy. I'd be happy to have him as the third guy, squad player, or maybe even just suck it up and accept regular starter. But he wants to be a star player and wouldn't settle for anything less. So we couldn't make a deal with him either. So for now, we are still completely blank in the defensive mid area. But the two weakest other positions have both been addressed. So it's a good start. But yeah, let's see what we can do about getting some defensive mids in here before too long. For one thing, I've just taken a bunch of guys on loan, but you can see that virtually all of them are coming in right at the bottom of the list. This 19-year-old, maybe I want to wait and check out a little bit longer, though can I even sign him? He's Japanese. See if he has some good enough potential to throw in our youth side. And it looks like we have a couple okay-ish guys, but that was the free agents, but the real free agents come available in a week, so we've got time, plenty of time. In the League 2 signing of the season department, it was take your pick of the litter, with Marcus Muir being that pick of the litter, but Amiobi, Aboa, and Doi all come in as the runners-up before Okonkwo, which I think Okonkwo, I think he was a target of mine that I just ended up not... No, he was not. He was not a target of mine. But only a single player making the top 5 outside of one of my guys, and we do take the overall on that one. And that was the first and only ever pair that I've paid for up to this point, but I know that's about to change this season. I am far more inclined to start coughing up transfer fees for the right players, especially the defensive mids. Let's hope that as we enter July and we're slated as League One, suddenly there's going to be a lot more players like Na that do want to sign with us and raise that profile a bit, and that'll include some transfer fees at that point, I'm sure. I had already brought through about 20 guys in the days leading up to the expiration of contracts. I still have a handful of them here, having let the others go. But then, with the release of players, I went through every Premier League side and took their released players and offered them a trial. And we got the full contingency of 30. And then there was about 5 guys that I couldn't get because we were already at that full contingency. So I ended up getting all but 5 on the list that I was trying to go through. The rest just straight up rejected us. But the ones that are here, these are all the 22-year-olds that had the contracts that were playing on the U23 sides for Premier League clubs, but just never had the breakthrough. So to get them down to League One or Championship is pretty typical of that anyway. And so we've got a lot of guys coming in on trial that are good enough to play for us. A lot. I mean, just looking through this list, Perina is at the top of the list. Another loanee that we've brought in to play defensive mid, Adam Martin, out of Bristol City, has come in. 3.5, 4-star guy. And, not amazing, but gives us something. He's almost Collier level. He's definitely better than Smallwood was. So I'm missing Collier already. He was a very key component to what we did last season. And these guys on loan don't really kind of fit Collier's level from what I'm seeing so far. Definitely need to wait to get information on some of them, but I've got full info on a lot of these guys already. And then there's definitely a lower level of players as well. And really just the bottom ones that are kind of like, you got to let those go. Except that there's a bunch of, 17, 18-year-olds that are down here, and we have no depth at that age. So adding those guys in to fill in there. But if you had anybody that was, mid-20s, those are the ones that I'm already letting go. Late 20s, anywhere near 30, not bothering with. So we're getting we're getting access to a much better core of young players this year than any previous year. Being that we're in League One, being that our reputation has slowly grown, but then you have, guys like this Luca Barrington that kind of sneak in under the radar with much higher potential and are, pretty decent to begin with. And as we go through, picking them out, well, he's susceptible to injuries and could be a leading League One player. Is it worth it to get a contract to somebody who's got some potential there and might have some transfer value later on? Chances are we're probably just going to end up loaning him out and him rotting away and never seeing time with the senior squad. But apparently he's about as good as Redden and Amiobi. But there's definitely a lot to go through here. Goalkeeper is a position that I haven't even started to address, but I want to. I mean, Heggie's been doing well, but he might be out of his element in League One. Maybe there or thereabouts. Ashby Hammond was certainly a better backup than what we had before, but he's certainly not good enough for this level. So I either need a young guy with potential to slot in between the two, or I need to find somebody better than Heggie. Definitely found a couple players. I've got some offers out there already in place, things happening, things in the works. We'll just see how many of those stay, how many of those actually opt to sign with us, because as before, our reputation is lower than everybody else around us. So when they have to choose between us and them, unless we are paying them significantly more, and that's something that they are interested in, more often than not, they're going to choose them based on reputation. So it is still a difficult task to really put a squad together and build a squad. But there's guys out here that supposedly can play and have potential. It's a good combination that I'm finding this year. I've got a lot of work to do over the month of July to whittle this down and offer contracts and rebuild the squad. A lot of the guys that played last year are going to be out, or they're largely going to be replaced by a new young core, at least at certain positions. I'm excited for the changes that are coming. I'm excited that there are some players that are looking to actually sign with us for a change, because last year was tough. When we started League 2, we couldn't hardly find anybody. As time went on, it got better because our performance got better and our reputation was rising. Here, it's starting at a much higher level, and there's a lot more guys willing to sign. And yeah, I think it's going to make a big impact. Hopefully, as we're supposed to be in a relegation battle to start the year, hopefully we can build a squad that's going the other direction in the league. That is going to do it for this episode, though. I'm Decathlon Gamer. Like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you next time as we hit up the later part of the preseason and try to get into the season itself. Have a good one. Be safe out there. Bye for now.